Hey everybody, it's Beth. Welcome to Infinite Garden. This week I wanted to share my review of 3 hot new makeup products that I have been testing over the last couple of weeks. If you want to hear what I think of the Merit Solo Shadow and the brush that goes with it, the number 2 brush, the Hourglass Panther palette, and the Lisa Eldridge new Seamless Glide eye pencils. I have it in 2 colors. Please stay tuned. Okay, first, the Merit Solo Eyeshadow. I received this in PR. The Merit team reached out to me and asked me to pick out one of the shades of their new Solo shadows. And I chose Nelson. This was part of their colorful collection. Some of their collection had nudes and then some were colorful. And I was drawn to Nelson because if you watch my channel, you know I like a smoky eye. I wear a daytime smoky eye regularly, and I thought this deep gray kind of sheer matte formula might be very useful for me both for day and night. I have been wearing this shade this week, all week into work, and I have been applying it both with the number 2 brush that it comes with, and I've been trying it with my finger as well. I've also tried it with other brushes in my collection. I think that this is an interesting formula. It is a very hard, waxy formula. If you've watched other videos reviewing this product, you may have heard that this little pot comes with a lid that needs to click shut or it could dry out. The formula does feel like it is at risk of drying out, but of course it's very new and it still is in perfect condition at this time. I find that it applies beautifully with a brush and finger, although I've learned over the course of a week of using this, I prefer it most with the least dense, softest, fluffiest brush I can find in my collection. Because this shade is quite deep and has the ability to build up and become quite dense, for that reason, I like to start with a fluffy brush to get the sheerest wash, especially if I'm wearing this for a day, if I'm going into work and I don't really want to have a super impactful eye look. This is a nice sturdy product with excellent staying power, and I find it very easy to use. I've enjoyed having it. I think I could get a similar look like this with a deep gray powder eyeshadow, so I'm still kind of getting used to what I think about having cream formulas. I find it's easier to work with this product than with creamier, softer formulas that I've tried in the past. I find that I have no trouble directing it. I like using the pointed end of the number 2 brush to get a little bit of a lower line liner situation. So I've really been liking this. Thank you to Merit for continuing to support my small but growing YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I really like the products I've tried from Merit. They are both vegan and cruelty-free, so if those are values that you prioritize, this is a brand that could work for you. So I've enjoyed using this. Sticking with the eyes, I wanted to talk about the new Lisa Eldridge Seamless Glide eye pencil. These are pretty new to the market, and all of the colors that Lisa Eldridge released were attractive to me, but I wanted to focus on the 2 shades that I was most likely to use. So the first one I tried was Cinder Smoke. This is another blackish gray or deeply blackened gray. It does blend out to a little bit less than straight up black. And I like to use this type of pencil as a tight line on my upper lash line. My eyes are somewhat deep set and almond shaped, so I love to tight line. I find that this formula is very smooth. There's 0 tugging and it applies really nicely. I have it on just my upper lid. And then I like to have a mid-toned neutral metallic lining my lower lid. I have a little more visible lid space on my lower lid, and I like to add a little bit of luminosity there. That is why I picked Renaissance Gold. It's just a perfect shade for me. It's right up my alley. These are lovely in every way. I do think they are quite soft. They don't set down to a super permanent line. It's not like an ink eyeliner. They will stay a little soft and smudgeable. So I think if you do wind up, touching your eyes or rubbing them, they'll move again. Or if you were to like take a nap and your eyes were to water, you might wind up with a little bit of eyeliner on the side of your face, that type of thing. So if you require an eyeliner that sits down and never budges, I actually don't recommend these. But if you do like a little bit of a lived in softer kind of like 90s effect with your eyeliner. These give you that just exactly, and they are very soft and comfortable to wear on my somewhat sensitive eyes. Okay, finally, let's talk about this Hourglass Leopard palette. This year they are offering 4 outer packaging options. If you go to their website, you can choose from these 4. There's an owl, a jellyfish, these leopards, and then a snake. So you can pick any of the colorways that you want in any of the outer packaging. The preset for the leopard is the medium range palette. If you are an Hourglass collector, this medium range palette might be the least interesting because I believe there is only one new shade. It's this punchy pink one in the middle. The shade that I was most interested in was actually Mood Exposure. Before I bought this palette, I actually thought about just buying Mood Exposure as its own blush. I think it's offered in both a mini and a full sized. But then I decided that I really wanted the full palette. I have enjoyed the Hourglass palettes in the past. The finishing powder Dim Light I already have in my trio of finishing powders. Of the 3 powders in the trio, it's the one I use the most. So I didn't mind the idea of adding more Dim Light to my collection. The middle shade is a strobe powder. This one is called Celestial Strobe Light. This is a very powerful highlighter, more powerful than I usually like to use. Because I have mature skin and the lines around my eyes are developing beautifully, I don't always add highlight to that area, but all week I have been using this highlight on my eyelids with the Merit Solo Shadow in Nelson, and I'm here to tell you this is a beautiful combination. Nelson is so cool and deep, and this Celestial Strobe Light is neutral warm and so shiny. Together they're just a knockout, so I've been using it that way. Mood Exposure has turned out to deliver exactly what I wanted, which is a very neutral on me blush. My skin tone is pretty neutral with some bluish green undertones, and this purple blush is very harmonious with my natural skin tone. I'm a little on the cool side, but not entirely. Neutral cool is where I am. And I love Mood Exposure. Very easy to wear during the daytime. It is subtle on me. Iridescent Rose is a little punchier than Mood Exposure, also very wearable. This one on me does read as more pink and more punchy, but it still has some of those rosy undertones that mute and cool it just a little bit. So for me, this is very harmonious. I think I'm going to wear both of these blushes quite a lot, and I do like having them together because I do like layering them. The lower middle blush is Ethereal Flush. This is the punchiest blush in this palette. I find it looks beautiful on both the eyes and the cheeks. When I do put it on my cheeks, I do go in with a very, very light hand. I'm actually impressed by how much color payoff this particular blush has on me. One of the things that makes these Hourglass powders desirable year after year for people is that the powders are extremely fine. I do find that this punchy blush can just barely sit on top of my skin. It's basically undetectable while still delivering this beautiful punchy flush. Finally, there is this bronzer. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know bronzers aren't really my thing. Because of my skin tone, almost every bronzer on me ends up looking orange. It's better than some, I will say that. It's not overtly orange on me, but I'll show me putting it here on my forehead. It's the only place that I put it. I don't think it looks bad or unwearable, but generally speaking, whenever I put a bronzer on my face, I usually regret it afterwards. I just don't necessarily think it's my favorite step. I am interested in exploring this a little bit more as a blush. I think this could be a very beautiful blush. Actually, let's just try it right now. I know I've got a lot on my cheeks, but let's just see what happens when you use this as a blush. For me, that might be the answer. It's likely to be the shade that I get the least use out of. But overall, I'm really satisfied with this Hourglass Panther palette. I think I'm literally going to use it all the time. I'm most excited about these blush shades, and I know I'll get use out of these 2 powders. I'll check back in about the bronzer over time. So what you're looking at right now is basically how I've been wearing my makeup all week, just maybe a little more punched up. I haven't been wearing quite this much color on my cheeks, but I've been going with this soft smoky eye and a little bit of these Hourglass palettes and some Lisa Eldridge eyeliner all week long, and I've really been enjoying it. So tell me in the comments below, have you been interested in these products? I think the Merit shadows sold out right away and then they had to restock them, and I know there's been a ton of hype about these palettes. How about the Lisa Eldridge eyeliner? Have you been interested in those? What have you picked up? What would you like me to review? Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. It helps my channel so much. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me and want to do it again, I post videos on Sunday. I would love it if you subscribed. We have an extremely supportive and kind community here. I'd love to have you be a part of it. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well out there, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Talk soon.